Welcome to the Orchard Hard Drive. Dear Diary, I'm back in Bilbury, in Twayblade's house. He's still sleeping and I'm downstairs in the living room, sitting next to the window. The view outside is interesting. It's not like a street I'd be used to back on Earth. Looks like the street I grew up on. Lots of homes around us, people going about their business. I can hear children playing. Then I'll see a dragonfly overhead and it reminds me I'm here in Nullgorth. It's not home. The thought of being here was so exciting. I was glad when Twayblade's magic couldn't get me home. I knew then it was wrong to think. Now I feel sick having thought that. My friends and family are back there. I have no idea what they must be thinking. That's something I haven't been able to write about in here, is how often I think about them all. The adventure of all this has kept me going, yet it's summer now. I've been here for months. I loved people I've met here. Twayblade, Gwenith, Klonk, and of course the one who helped me out first, Arrowgrass. But still, sorry to be so crestfallen. It's just everything that happened yesterday I think has made me homesick. The other magic user and then that creature in the tower. Not to mention being chased by those goons in Capital Towers. I get that this is normal for Gwenith and Twayblade, but I'm not used to it. I thought I wanted adventure and exploring, but now I think I'd rather be home. Anyway, Gwyneth's coming over in a bit. Oh, by the way, Diary, Gwenith, when she's not out adventuring, lives in Bilbury with her girlfriend. I didn't know she lived here. Also, I've got to meet the girlfriend of a bounty hunter. Dear Diary, Gweneth came over and we discussed things with Twayblade. He told us the plan was still for us to go to Dead Nettle, then head from there to the Dark Wood. Looking at my map, I said we were closer here to the Dark Wood. Twayblade looked and agreed. He said we should go to the town of Rustyback. That's in the middle and closer still to the Dark Wood. Then Twayblade said it was time to talk about what we would actually encounter there. On the edges of the wood there are wild creatures which are dangerous, but they stay away from the deeper parts. There, Twayblade said, is where unfortunately the gateway to Earth is. And in that area there are said to be colossal monsters. This is why, if at all, we should go by tunnels. Try as best we can to avoid those creatures. As for anything else that might be in the woods, he couldn't be sure. He said he needed Klonk's knowledge of architecture because it was rumoured that surrounding the gateway was an ancient city. Much easier to get around if we have someone who might know something about that kind of thing. I said I would go ahead to Dead Nettle and let Twayblade rest. There I would ask Klonk to join us. Twayblade turned to me with a confused look, threw me his phone. He said I should just text Arrowgrass asking for Klonk's number. Save myself the hassle. Well, I thought that kind of takes the fun out of a big fantasy adventure, but I could do with a rest after all I've been through. Dear Diary, I texted Arrowgrass to get Klonk's number. I text back later. I called Klonk. I told him what had happened, how Gwenith had found this gauntlet that could help her find anything, and how she was going to use it to find a gateway to get me home. Klonk was excited about it all, but went into the stratosphere when I mentioned ancient ruins in the Dark Wood. But then came down to Earth, or Nullgorth, I guess, when he did realise it was an extremely dangerous journey. There was a reason no one went into the Dark Wood. I told him to think about it, we'd be grateful, but we'd understand if he couldn't join. He thanked me and said he would talk to his family about it. I said how great it was to hear from him again. After the call, I gave Twayblade his phone back. He's feeling much better. He's back to his old self. He told me magic users have the ability to access energy in themselves to cast spells. The greater the spell, the greater the toll it takes on the body. But also, if they were to use a lot of small spells in a short space of time, it would all add up as well. I wondered if I could learn a small spell or something. Twayblade said the learning of spells isn't the difficult part. It's the learning to tap into the energy and deal with the fact your body changes. Most magic users age much slower than others. Twayblade, for instance, is 700 years old, and in that time he's become very powerful. Yet in the time I've known him, he hasn't used magic all that much. Except for the times when he's feeling lazy and he'll make himself a cup of tea without getting out of his chair. It's very interesting. I'm going to have to ask Twayblade more about it all. Dear Diary, it's a little later. I'm back from my walk. I'm feeling more confident walking around the edges of Bilberry now. I still fear a griffin attack, but it's no more than the people in town fear them. I know what to do now. I know how to avoid them. But still, I'm not exactly going to try and fly around on one's back. I stopped in at a takeaway and got fish and chips for Twayblade and I. Actually, that's the thing. Have I said how weird it is that in this fantasy world, there are things like fish and chips, cafes or phones? Now, to be fair, the fish are very strange looking creatures, as are the plants the chips are made from. The cafes stock warm drinks that feel like caffeine, but they don't taste like it. With everything that's happened, I don't know if I've really stopped and thought about how much of this is actually what they're called, and how much of this is the spell Hourglass put on me when I first arrived to understand it all. Something to think about anyway. It's late, I better get some sleep. If Klonk comes with us or not, we'll be starting to prepare to leave for the dark woods soon. I selfishly hope he does. I miss travelling with my friend, but at the same time I understand. And I'd be lying if I didn't say I was terrified about the dark wood. Everything about it seems to want people out.